7.5 lap journey is underway for the under 20 women. This race has become known as the unofficial national championship over 3,000 metres. Steeped in history, many of our Zatopek 10 women's champions have started and taken victory in this race. Lara Tamsett, just one of those names. A field of 11 athletes amongst the most credentialed. Samantha Prime of Victoria. And we'll see her move across to the front of the field. The pace is quite slow through the outset. No competitors willing to make the early move. Isabel Scott, the South Australian, will tuck into second place. Amy Cashin just in behind in the Western Athletics kit. We see the New South Wales athlete Megan Bester in the headband, just starting to work her way around the outside. And the pace just starting to move. So Samantha Prime, a silver medalist over the distance in the under 18 age group at the Australian Junior Championships in March this year in Sydney. And Bester, as we mentioned, making her way towards the front. The New South Wales athlete, the blue headband. She took the silver medal in the under 17 3,000 metres. So Prime will take them through the first 400. It's a very conservative pace, 83 seconds through the first 400. And so Samantha Prime, she's already seen success on this track a couple of weeks ago back at the Victorian All Schools Championship. And she was a silver medalist on that occasion over the 3,000 metres to Laura Powell. As the pace just starting to hasten slightly, what was a very pedestrian pace has just started to stretch. As we see at the front of the field, a lead change. So Samantha Prime will move back. It's Kate Fitzsimmons, the Western Australian, that will go forward and take up the running. So they're 83 seconds through the first 400 metres. And we'll see how they're tracking at 800. It'll be about the 2 minute 40 pace. And they're just approaching the 1,200 metre mark down the back straight. So Samantha Prime still well positioned. The athletes we will have to watch for, Cara McDermott of New Zealand. Of course, their national junior champion. She's tucked in about 5th or 6th place at this stage. Still Samantha Prime up hard on the plinth. And the pace is starting to increase. Still Samantha Prime, Fitzsimmons, Tamsin McMahon of South Australia. It's McDermott that we see in hip number 10, just moving into 3rd place. 20 women's athletes, one of the preeminent distant races for juniors on the national calendar. Really sets up their season, coming off the All Schools and making their way down to Melbourne for the Zatopek. About 6:45, the clock ticks through 2,000 metres, and the pace, and you can see by the field the way it started to stretch. The stress has been felt by a handful of the athletes, and it'll be Prime. McDermott, the New Zealander, is the one to watch on the outside. McMahon, the South Australian, who's recovered very nicely, joined by Isabel Scott, a fellow South Australian. The New South Wales runner trying to tag her way onto the back of the pack is indeed Megan Bester, our silver medalist over 3,000 metres in the under 17 age group. And just off the back of that pack's Tessa Johns, who saw last week placed 5th, the Australian All Schools in the under 18 3,000 metres. Maybe that performance is just catching up with her here. So inside 2 laps now, the pace just starting to hasten. Prime loves to run from the front of the field, and indeed her victories at the Junior Championships have come from that position. Very strong across the cross-country season. A very consistent athlete. So she won't want to stick around too much longer with this group of 4. A long run from home will suit her, as it's McMahon that just rolls over the front. The urgency is sensed Prime will move with her. McMahon, as we mentioned earlier, 6th in the under 20 3,000 metres at the juniors in Sydney earlier this year. Prime, a silver medalist in the under 18 3,000 metres, and inside 500 metres from home. We've got a slight break, the rubber band just being stretched on the New Zealander McDermott. We've lost Isabel Scott just off the back, as it's McMahon that'll take the ascendancy at the bell. Prime will tuck in behind with her. McDermott has a little bit of work to do, 350 metres from home. The under 20 New Zealand champion just dropping back. Prime still within striking distance, but the pressure is being applied by McMahon from the front. A long run from home by the South Australian. Prime digging in now, trying to take back ground, the best part of 8 metres to work. Back into third place, McDermott. Scott of South Australia into 4th, is Bester in 5th. Johns in 6th will face a challenge shortly, but 200 metres from home, it's still the South Australian. Working very strongly on the bend, but Prime isn't quite done with. Sense just starting to pick back ground with every stride slightly, but it's still going to be the South Australian McMahon that will lead them in the stretch. Samantha Prime will have to move wide to move around the South Australian in the Lisa Ondieki 3,000 metres under 20 juniors. Tamsin McMahon, she'll come down the home stretch. She had a tumble earlier, and what a recovery it's been. She'll come down and take the title in 2012, 9:53.36. Samantha Prime into 2nd place. The New Zealander will go home with a bronze medal, and that is Cara McDermott. 4th place, back to Isabel Scott. 5th will be his best to round out the top 5. In the Lisa Ondieki 3,000 metres for 2012, your champion, it's Tamsin McMahon.